Okay, we are live. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna wait and see if some more people come in
Make sure my
because it's just
volume is down.
9:03. So I know there's Black Readers Con going on. There's
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Yeah.
Welcome, duking it out for the attention. Wait and see if that's not gonna stop us.
Nope.
We still gonna discuss this book because I've been waiting to discuss this book.
I'm telling
So good. um Okay, so let's
you.
just sort
I
of
did not.
ease our way into this discussion. So let's just hear what y'all got to say. So what did you think, Michael? Is this your first Buchi Emecheta? And what did you think?
Uh, yes, it is my first one. I thought I liked it. I gave it on the Bookly app 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I don't.
What?
This is why it's genuine. It's the first time. But
Child, this
yes,
is weekend of banishment. I'll be banishing people to this weekend.
but yeah, I did like it. I did have issues with it, and we'll talk about it once we
So
get
why did
into
you
it.
give it 3 stars if you didn't have if you said you didn't have issues with it?
Oh no, I have issues with it. I
Lay
liked it,
it out. What
but
kind of issues you got?
I think it's especially towards the end. It's some of the explanations. I felt like there were parts here where it it felt like it was telling instead of showing.
Yeah,
Um.
but that's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people
Especially,
don't like that, but I feel like I feel like writing
I
goes through stages, in
yeah.
periods
No,
through years. Some
and
years
it
we do a lot of showing, others we do
yeah.
a lot of, you know, telling and not showing, or showing and not and telling.
Hmm.
But okay.
Yeah. I think that was my main. And why is
Now
Tani laughing so?
I'm still giving you she looking at my
Like,
face.
I'll deal with it. I'll deal with
I'm
it.
still giving you the side eye, Michael. But okay. Okay, I'm just gonna drink my water and be quiet.
I have coffee right here. So,
Oh man.
what did
Okay.
you think? What did y'all think then?
All
I'll
right.
go. I am vacillating between 3 and 4 stars. I rated it 4 on the Bookly app, but I'm between 3 and 4. I understand what Michael is saying about what he did not like about it, but that wasn't it. It didn't detract for me. Like when there were times where it was like instead of you reading the story, the character was
Hmm.
telling you something that happened. Like it was one
Yeah.
part where they were talking about the getting ready for Francis to go to the UK,
Yeah.
and then there's the next paragraph after that is Ada saying a few years later in the we or I did such and such and such, and this was the results of this, but we're not there yet, so let's go back, like that kind of thing. It wasn't a problem for me. I can understand why Michael didn't care for it, though. My biggest issue with
Mm.
this story is not in the telling of the story, it's in the characters, and that's not a bad thing for the story because characters that I don't like are great. Like characters that you write to
Mm.
the point where I have no empathy for them. Like
Yeah. No.
I was
No.
ready to dismember Francis, and
Yeah. I
I'm
was
not a
too.
fan of singing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but I'm between 3 and 4 stars. I whoo, the abuse,
Yeah. This
the
is up there.
financial, physical, emotional abuse
Mm.
was a part, and I understand it's the sharing of the culture, and it's the
Hmm.
culture that's the problem. But with this being my, such a in your face way
Mm.
of how, because there's no like sugarcoating
No, none.
of how things are going. Um, yeah, that was a huge issue for me, but
Mhm.
also it's a kudos to the storytelling. Because I was into it, and as upset
Yeah,
as I was, like a book that I can get invested in, that's a good for me. That's a good book. That's a good book. And
yeah,
again,
absolutely.
I wanted to dismember Francis, and I don't like maiming, so you got me.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I feel like for me, this is a 4 star.
Hmm.
And I I'll just talk about the things I really enjoyed about it. So I really enjoyed this aspect of following an immigrant through this period of the 50s and 60s, and
Mm-hmm.
at the same time seeing some of the things that all women in the UK are kind of going through, but through an immigrant's point of view and not through a white British woman's point of view, for example. So we're kind of seeing this whole thing with, the thing with birth control, the thing with marriage, and what a woman is allowed to do if she can have birth control without her husband's permission, which wasn't allowed. And we're seeing all of this transformation of women's rights through that main character,
I got it.
Ada. And I thought that was really interesting how we see that. But also keeping in mind this book is semi-autobiographical, because when I went to read her life, I was just like, oh crap, it's very similar to what she actually lived. But I did enjoy that, and I didn't have so much of an issue with the way she tells the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said, Michael, that you thought it was too much telling, not enough showing. But I think that's just also because it has this sort of, it's kind of a closely told story, even though it's not in the first person, it's more in third person, but it's still a close third person. So I have a problem with that. I just, you know, I just got down with the story. I just got sucked into the story, and I just let myself go. And it was almost as if I was standing behind Ada the whole time, or I was a fly on the wall going, girl, no, oh my God, I was doing that the whole time. And I like those kind of books that can get me emotionally involved, because it's
Same,
not, a lot of writers are not
same.
capable of getting
Mm.
anybody emotionally involved in nothing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like, and being that this book it's an older book. This is a classic. This is a modern classic. So this is not anything like what we're used to reading today. And
That is a very true statement.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is a very true statement.
you know, uh, getting people emotionally involved with some of the stuff that's coming out of the publishers these days is not so much. Okay, I'm just saying, just to be honest.
Yeah, because
So it's 4 stars.
even though it was published a while back, the topics and themes are still so relevant
Still
today,
relevant. Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is wild.
Well, which is good because that shows what's so great about reading classics.
Because it's
Mhm.
still
Is that
relatable.
absolutely,
It's
and I
still
feel like that's
relatable.
what people forget, and that's why people should always try to take a look out for some of their modern classics, because we will see that we relate completely to some of the things that are being discussed in the books. Um, okay, so where do we want to start? Do we want to start with structure, themes, characters?
We can
Let's
start with
start with okay.
what?
Characters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so let's just get to it, because you want to get to your man Francis. Francis, we're going just Francis the whole book. Just drive everybody crazy. Yeah.
Francis can kiss the dirty section of my ass right after I shit.
I look, let me tell you, baby, that Francis was a hot mess. A hot
And
mess
the
of a man.
fact that he was, and it's not just Francis, like all the men in your family are fuck it. All the men in your family are bitches because you got tutored on how to do this by your daddy and
Yeah,
your
exactly.
mama. Like,
Mhm,
hello?
mhm.
Like how is this how I that part blew me. That just
Yeah.
the 95.9% that Ada, however it's said. I've been saying Ada, so that's what's gonna be that
I thought
Ada
so
put
too. I thought,
into
yeah. I thought,
put into the uphold of their family, not even the relationship, because after a certain point, she was just like, "Okay, fuck it, we just married. That is what
Mhm.
it is. I don't care about him. If you want another heifer, you can get another heifer. Just leave me alone."
Yeah.
Um, you know, the little bit that he had to do, and then his inferiority complex because he was too stupid to pass anything,
Yeah.
and Ada is passing
yes.
things left and right. Oh,
No, but the worst was when she was paying that white woman to take care of her children, and
she
he
would have
was
been there
going over
too.
there and he was having sex with her while she was off at work.
Both of y'all dirty, and her house was
Wow.
filthy. House
House was filthy, gave the poor child meningitis.
had the kids playing in
Oh,
trash outside. Like, excuse me.
good, because I couldn't have done it. Okay? Good. Like too much. It was too much. I think by that point, I think I'd stopped reading and I said, Lord Jesus, help me. I'm about to throw this book. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm
And then
so mad.
and then it was like she took the kids back. The fact
I know.
that
And that's when I would definitely wanted to throw the damn book. I'm like, what the fuck are you
the
doing?
fact that that was the only option that she had, like that's
I
the part. I
know.
think that's the part that baffled me, and it has to do with me not knowing and understanding UK culture
UK
because
culture, and keep
Hmm.
in mind, they just immigrated there.
right.
So they don't have that many rights, you
So
know.
the idea that she had no choice, like there was nobody else to help her take to do daycare for her
Yeah.
children, and she had no choice until something for the nursery came up, and then them being that's a whole nother thing.
Basically, I think it
The-
was the moment the kid got
That's a whole nother
meningitis.
section of the
That's
conversation.
when they found
yes.
a spot. You know, it's when the
Michael,
kid.
mute, baby, mute.
I have a live show I'm doing.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, but I feel like she when Vicky wound up getting meningitis, that's what then prompted them to get a spot at this school.
Hmm.
It happened right after that. So yeah, but Frances was just a whole kind of bad and shitty person. Just a whole kind of shitty person. I mean, I feel like he was just, and then the thing when it really bugged me was towards the end when she said, "Okay, I'm gonna get my job," and he got the job working as a postman, and then he was like bitching and moaning and saying it was terrible. And
Who
then she
gives a fuck if it's terrible? Get your
look,
ass and go to work and make some
look,
motherfucking money.
but then she sees the black girl roaming down the street and she's whistling and she's enjoying the fact that she's outside and she's delivering mail and not doing something worse. And then she got to have a husband. Oh, I had to deliver mail in one of the worst places. He was just so awful. Oh my God. Oh my God. This guy was just like, I can't with this guy. I just,
The whole time I kept thinking that like Francis is the epitome of that meme where it says the the bar is in hell. Like I was like, that is wild to me. I was like, how after everything that happened, that's I guess and I don't know if it's like a thing for them, but well, they also mentioned it in the book, but like they could not get divorced. Like that
no.
in her mind, like they couldn't get divorced, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
That's a very that's a very present
Yeah.
Or was a very present mindset back in that
Yeah.
time, not just in African
Stick it out.
families, but in Black families, period. Like
Yeah,
you
stick it out.
got married, you didn't get divorced, you stuck it out, and a lot of times that ended up with that's how some folks not completely all totally how, but
Hmm.
that's how some folks
Yeah.
have very very broad families.
Yeah, and even when, she was at the end and she was in the courthouse, and then she second guessed and she said, "Ooh, I don't want to say that because he could get arrested." I said, "Get him arrested, bitch. Get him arrested."
But again, that is a very present mindset
Yeah.
right now. Bitches will
Yeah.
go to court and omit
Ugh,
information or lie about shit to save their motherfuckers from going to jail when they need
yeah.
to go to jail.
Yeah. And that didn't serve any purpose.
Not just for their safety, but for their sanity.
Sanity. Absolutely. So that was okay. So we all agree Francis was a basket.
A bitch.
Crap in a basket.
The only
Okay.
time I thought maybe he would have been helpful was when they were thinking they were about to get that first apartment, when they were going to get kicked out. They were going to get that apartment from that
Oh, with
from that
the
landlord.
woman that called.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the white
I
lady.
felt like they were kind of both on the same boat. They're like, we need this, so let's work together. But then as soon
Yeah,
as
but
that,
she was the one who
yeah,
had to find the goddamn thing.
exactly.
And
So
She wasn't looking for nothing.
that was my thing. Like if any of us or any of the chicks that I know, if either of us, you or myself, Didi, had gone and done all the work to make this thing happen, to make the connections, to try to find a place, I'm not going home to get my man. I have the
Yeah,
money. I don't need you for anything, and what you
yeah.
can give me, I don't want. So why I'm
No,
gonna go back and get you?
that was crazy. All right, let's talk about wait, what is the name of this other character? I can't remember what his name. You remember the character Okpara, the other Ibu man that she meets?
oh yes,
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
When
yes.
they get to the UK, what page?
okay. So
When
What
I
page
thought that
number,
was
please?
that was kind of an interesting thing because she was thinking if my husband could just have an example, maybe
Mhm.
he, and I was just like, you're giving him too much. I'm like, you're giving him too much
Too much
credit.
credit.
Yeah, like you think he's really gonna be looking at this accomplished man to try to do what he's doing. I was like, no, not
Because
a
he
snowball
doesn't
chance.
care. He doesn't. He
No way.
doesn't care. He sees men like the people who were living in the apartment
Yeah,
hostel situation with them. Those men were going to work. They won't
yeah,
just sitting at home doing
yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
He had been sitting at home doing nothing and failing for
yeah.
months before she got
Months
there. And
before
she
she
was
got
just sending him money.
there.
I need my money back. You're gonna pay me back
Yeah.
in blood.
Well, the thing is, I thought she would have figured that out when she arrived and saw how fucking lazy he was. I was thinking, doesn't she see that he hasn't been doing anything the whole time? She's the one that's been working and sending the money over there.
I couldn't
It should be the other way around, you
that
know?
made me nauseous. That made me
Totally.
nauseous.
Okay, somebody just said yes.
Yeah.
Cookie Flash said yes, but there was a part in the book where Ada describes how he enjoyed hurting people. That's towards the end.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
tabbed that.
where she remembers that story that he tells her all the time. Um, and then she only remembers it once he's
Yeah, here it is. Here it is.
manuscript at the end.
Yep, now she remembered. She had seen him smile like that when he was telling her
Yeah.
how successful
Mhm.
he had been
Mhm.
in killing a monkey belonging to his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His friend had his monkey as a pet to the annoyance of everybody. Francis bought rat poison, smeared it on a piece of bread, and gave it to the monkey. Well, Francis had bought and given it to the monkey. The monkey had died, but the agony it went through, twisting in pain, the mournful cry of the unfortunate animal had never ceased to delight Francis.
It's awful. It's awful.
Also, Francis is a kept pet.
Hmm. Yeah. That was annoying.
You got that, Michael.
That was annoying.
Yeah. It was disgusting. And I was like, you are literally married to a sociopath.
Yeah.
That's
And
like
he's
that's what they say. Like the
totally
first, like that's one of the signs that when like a little when you're young and you enjoy torturing animals.
animals. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
That story he had told her more than once that story.
And
'Cause he was proud of it.
enjoyed telling her.
And he
Like
enjoyed telling it.
to tell her. Excuse me?
Yeah.
Francis' parents ruined him. They're almost like, especially his mom. She was definitely an enabler.
Yeah. Enabler, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, Lord Jesus.
She was disgusting too.
It was
And just like feeling so bad for no, we still talking about characters. Go, let's the Oak Para situation, which was
the because they're the only like the main characters were obviously Ada and Francis. Mr. Noble, there were the nobles.
Oh yeah, they were. Mr. Noble, Mr. Pa Noble.
Mm-hmm.
I love how
his story was interesting.
His story was interesting, but the way he described credit made me laugh.
You just go get it and you tell them that you can pay it later.
I don't know. It just so yeah, his story is interesting, but oh my God, that's that part where he's trying to lift up the lift with his shoulder.
The dumminess of that.
What the heck?
The dumbness of that, and
Lord.
knowing that you are the butt of racist jokes. And instead of opting to do something you know is stupid. You know it's stupid.
I just was reading. I had to reread that section because I was like,
same. I read it twice. I was like, there's no way.
The same thing. I was like, say what?
There's no way this happened. Like, no. That.
Yeah, I had to reread that. I must admit, because I just was like, I don't think I'm reading this right. I'm not reading this right. I'm like, oh crap, I am reading this right. Yeah. So it's interesting the way his physical aspects are described because of that injury, and then his darkness and all the rest of it. It's just, and then he's married to this white woman.
And they just came across as dirty to me. And I don't know if they came across as dirty because of the description of the house, because the story of him coming into the house, like buying the house and having the two people who were living there, and you just can't evict them because they live there, but it's my fucking house. Like all of that. I don't know if it's the story of that and how they treated the house like crap and what he was left with that he had to fix that makes them seem dirty, or if it's that they actually came across as dirty.
I agree with you though. There's some kind of, you're not really sure the way it's
somebody is not happy
if it's really dirty or what. But there was another thing in here about him. Wait, did I write down the notes? Wait, there was something else about him and his relationship.
About Mr. Noble.
Let's see if I can find that. Let's see that.
This one was hilarious to me. Papa Noble told them that he was born in a tree. His mother fed him breast milk until he was almost 12.
12.
He had to be weaned because he was by then old enough to join the men folk in the farm work. So you went from pit to field. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And yes, he said all children in Nigeria were brought up like that. There was no food. People died of dysentery every day. He ate meat only twice in the year during the Yam Festival and the festival of his father's gods. Mm. And you know, another thing or plus about this book is that as short as it is, there's so much that's packed into it.
There's a lot of things packed
There's
in there.
so much that's packed into it. This, like, in the hands of a lesser, I was trying to think of a nicer way to say it. I don't know why. It's us. In the hands of a lesser skilled author, this book would have been three
A
times this
disaster.
size.
It would have probably been a disastrous 500-page book that we probably
And
got.
Latrice wouldn't have read it. Bibliofro wouldn't have read it. Who else? Everybody who read The Three Musketeers with us this year would not have read it if it
Not have
was
read it if it was
that
600.
long.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't there something in here with Mr. Noble where they mention a line? I think I forgot to write it down. Something about all the white women were marrying these loser black men. Wasn't that a line in there? Am I tripping?
Well, there was something about when the lawyer came home, the start of the story, when the lawyer comes home and he comes back to Nigeria with his wife.
Oh wait, no, I
And
got
it's
it.
you got it?
Okay,
Okay.
keep going. It says the set of African males who started to discriminate between the educated and the uneducated white woman came later. So that was the part. It's like in the middle of chapter 7.
Okay. You were gonna say in the beginning, that's almost the middle.
Yeah, it's the middle.
Oh, chapter 7.
Yeah,
Oh,
because at the beginning it says, however, most of those men who sought the kingdom of the eligibles did not make it. Like the seeds of that sower in the Bible, they fell on the wayside to be trodden upon by passerby. They came, failed to gain a foothold in England, sought consolation in the pubs, got themselves involved with the type of women who frequented the pubs because it was just after the war when many such women were around. And that, of course, meant goodbye to their law studies and a happy welcome to a house full of half caste children.
Girl, that line right there
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
me out.
Took me out. I knew I must have just couldn't find it right away. Nearly all the failures married white women. Maybe it was the only way of boosting their egos, or was it a way of getting even with their colonial masters?
Mm-hmm.
I
mm.
was like,
It,
okay, hey,
it's
Bushi.
also the end of that first section where it, because I always enjoy it when I see the title of the story, and you
Mm-hmm.
can that's where the title of the story is when it says the dream of becoming an aristocracy became a reality of being a black, a nobody, a second class citizen.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that one, when I read that, that took me out. I was like, okay, she's not playing. She's not playing that. She's telling us what's up.
Yep. And
So, well, let's look at that thing about second class citizen because
that's the
it's
only thing that came out of Francis's mouth that was smart.
exactly it's very double fold, this idea of second class citizen, because
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you have both of them are second class citizens because they're in the UK,
Now
but
Francis
then
is third class.
you, but poor Ada is like second class citizen double fold
Mm-hmm.
because her husband treats her like shit,
Crap.
like she's worth nothing. So I feel like that the whole idea of calling him a second class citizen is just perfection for me. It's really
Mm-hmm.
perfection.
You can also see it because like all her rights as a woman is she doesn't have any essentially. Like it's not as
Yes,
much as
absolutely.
Like
Yep.
Francis could be doing nothing, but he gets more.
He gets more, yeah.
He
Yeah.
does nothing and he gets more.
More, yeah. But you see here again, that's also the time period as well, because you have to realize almost every woman at the time was going
Yeah.
through all this kind of difficulty. This is a period full of difficulty for women trying to get their rights, trying to work outside of the house, trying to, you know, work outside of the house and be a mother and take care of their kids, trying to get birth controls. I mean, look how many kids she had.
Whoa.
Damn.
Nothing was hers. Her money wasn't hers. Her vagina
Oh,
wasn't
child,
hers.
her
Her
body
uterus
wasn't
wasn't
hers.
hers. The entirety of her physical form.
I
And
mean,
all that it entails. And then when
this
she
is
asks him,
something.
when she's 9 months fucking pregnant,
Yeah.
walking to work every day, and she asks him to take the damn kids to the daycare, and he said, "Do I have a
Have to do
choice?
that. Yeah,
You
exactly.
can go outside and get hit by a bus, and we can all chill here together."
I tell you that he was wearing me out, like wearing me the hell out. Okay. So you have to imagine
And then the
women,
virginity.
yeah, having kid after kid after kid because they don't have birth control. I mean, and then he's telling her, "Oh, if I just pour my seed out on the floor, then you won't get pregnant." It's
Obviously, pulling out is not your forte, sir.
oh my god, I just was like, nah. And
Even
this
when
doctor,
she kind of like released herself at the end, he still found her.
mm-hmm, yeah, yeah. And when she comes to the doctor and asks him for help, and he gives her some white pills, and then nothing happens, and then she winds up having the next baby again. And then when she goes back and she says, "I know you didn't, if anything happens,
It didn't work.
it
Yeah.
What do
didn't."
you mean? I would never give you something to
Yeah,
abort a baby. Then what the
yeah,
fuck you give me them pills for when I told you what I
exactly. It's
wanted?
like, oh well,
Lie.
if anything happens, it's on you. It's your fault or whatever. Oh, it was just so devastating to see that. It was,
This is the part. This is the part where I was done and ready to put Francis in a vat of acid. At the end of it all, Francis gasped and said, "Tomorrow you are going to see the doctor. I want him to see to this. I want them to see to this frigidity. I'm not gonna have it."
yeah, I read that and I was like, the fuck is he talking about? I'm not saying anything because it's not going to be good.
Now I say all my shit when we be on this live. Say it.
Girl, look, I'm gonna be dignified on this one. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, okay? Because oh boy was making me mad, okay? Making me mad. Like my book took some fucking abuse, man. Throwing it at the wall and stuff.
I even made a
Oh
plan. I
man.
was like, if I read a chapter a day, this was 2 weeks ago. If I read a chapter a day, I'll be finished with this book a week in advance, and I can go back and do my, look at my notes and
Yeah.
stuff for the. That shit didn't happen because I can't even remember what chapter we got to, and I put the book down. I don't think I picked it up for 3 days. I was
Oh,
like, wherever this man's mind is, it is not functioning.
no.
Wherever it is, because it can't be up here. He has to take it out. There's
Yeah,
no
no,
way.
it's not good. I mean, that part, I was just like, rigidity?
And then
What?
you have like the appreciation that you have for Ada for having this dream since she was
Mhm.
a little kid
Yeah,
and doing what she needed to do to make that dream happen, even with
yeah,
sending him to the UK ahead of her, literally her sending him to the UK ahead of her. Seeing her follow through with her dream is inspiring. That's one hand. The other hand is seeing her doing all this stupid shit and including this man who does
yeah,
absolutely nothing and continuing to consider him and go back to him to ask him questions
yeah,
about why are you asking him money questions? He don't make no fucking money. He don't pay rent. He don't pay for daycare. He takes your money and
yeah,
gives you an allowance.
yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah, but you see, Rosa says it. This was how it was in those days before the pill, not
Yeah.
only in the UK either. Exactly. I mean, in the US as well. It was, this was the issue. You couldn't just stop working.
And
You
I
couldn't just
wasn't
start working.
aware. This was news to me, and I actually need to ask. I need to ask people. I won't say who I'm going to ask, but I was not aware of you having to basically get your diaphragm sized.
For the cap.
Yeah, like I'm assuming the cap was a diaphragm. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
assuming
it
it was.
is.
Okay,
And it
I
probably
wasn't
was
aware
in the
of it
beginning.
needing to be.
In the beginning, that's probably how it was. Because
That's
it
what I'm
wasn't
saying.
like per se perfected, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's in my mind. I'm thinking like you get a diaphragm. It opens as far as it can go, and you go for broke.
Yeah. Go for broke, girl. No, she been in
Don't
there.
forget the
Got a,
spermicide.
she got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out in. Okay,
Oh.
so um, but
And
yeah, I mean,
she's so much stronger than him. It's literally like watching. I felt at the end of this book that I had watched my friend who refused to leave an abusive relationship
oh
return to her abuser time and time again. That's what I felt like when I finished watching this book. The fact that she got in that cab and went home.
yeah, yeah. I feel like her children are her support to a certain, her mental support. She does things. It's for her children. She wants her children to be well. But I feel like she's taking a lot of abuse off her husband that she doesn't have to. But it's also just because leaving her husband is not an option,
Hmm.
and having that not be an option opens her up to a battery of things that can happen to her because he is not in her corner. Period.
At all. In any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
In any way,
Shape or
shape, or
yeah.
form. I don't think he can spell corner.
Mm-mm.
How many times, like I am baffled by the number of times because he failed so many times. And I was just like, you're just dumb because Ada didn't have this issue and Ada was not in school as consistently as he was. And she did everything that she needed to do to make sure that she passed the exams that she needed to pass so she could become a librarian. She refused to become what she didn't want to be. And
Yeah.
like that, and I wish she had that type of determination and stick to itiveness with getting the fuck away from Francis. Even if you can't divorce him, you can leave.
Yeah, but I feel like that's also one of the big themes of the book is this way that this determination, this perseverance, no matter how bad things get,
Hmm.
she's gonna find a way around it or find a way to do it. And I feel like that is, yeah, that's
And
one of
she
the main
kept trying to
themes.
find ways to like him.
Yeah, well,
She
like
consistently kept trying to find ways to like him and any little glimmer. And I'm like, this is the epitome of an abusive relationship. Any
but
little
I
glimmer.
feel like that's normal because that's the way. If you know if you're in a relationship, you're married, and you will not leave your husband. You want to make it work. She wants to make it work, so she's trying to be positive. Like, I mean, we're like looking at it like, well, damn, girl, you see, this is a lost freaking cause. But for her, there's she wants it to work, you
Yeah.
know. So she's
But it's
got
also like it's like she it's like her I guess her culture is also like saying that you need
it
to
has
make
a
this
lot to
work.
do with that.
There's no other option. There's no other option.
There's a thing
Hmm.
that she said, and I really liked it when she talks about twist the facts. There's that little phrase that she uses, which I thought was kind of interesting when she says, um, it pained her having to resort to the very method she had always used when she was little. The horrible tendency to twist the facts. But what else was there for her to do? She prayed to God again and again to forgive her. And I think this is around the part where she needs the signature to get the birth control pills.
Oh, okay. And
And
she
she doesn't
decides
want
to
to tell her
forge the
husband,
signature.
and she doesn't want to get, so she opts to forge it instead. And so I like how she doesn't say lie, she says twist the facts. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was kind of interesting. Okay, so
One
what
of my
is
favorite, because
go ahead.
I use these sticky tabs where like it has emotions, like it has
Yeah.
emotions. So what I'm feeling. One of the funniest parts on here, because I put a laughing
When
one.
we finish, send the link to that to me in
Like,
Oh
I'm gonna
yes,
use up all of the
thanks.
shitty faced
I
ones.
keep no. They have
Send me that.
a lot. Hold on, let me show y'all. But
I'm gonna use
it's
all the
from
shitty faced
it's
ones
a
and all the
Korean one, but it has different emotions on
Oh,
there.
that's so
I want
cute.
that. I want that. Are
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
clear?
no, they're not.
they're
Unfortunately,
white.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not. But they're really nice. And the part on here is when they get in an argument. It says on here
What page?
somebody
What
had.
page?
I'm on page 65, but I don't know.
Because we
Each
don't
of
have
our
the
editions is
same,
different.
yeah, edition. But it should still be, the book ain't that long, so it should still
Yeah,
Yeah,
be.
it's on chapter 5, and it says on here somebody had left a carpet sweeper by the door. Ada
Yep.
later wondered why this was so because there was no carpet in either of Trudy's two rooms. Without thinking, she picked it up, heavy as it was, and banged it violently in the direction of Trudy's head. I was like,
yeah,
"This is what."
yeah.
But also,
Damn, she
I'm
missed.
glad she did it.
Damn, she missed. That's what I said.
I was so glad she did it.
Mm,
The
I
part
was
that
so
says
glad she did it.
she wondered why there was no carpet.
no carpet, and the bitch wasn't cleaning nothing no way.
Wasn't
Y'all,
cleaning anything, wasn't feeding her kids.
in the trash. Like, come on now.
The daddy had told the oldest to shut the hell up unless she was speaking in English.
Mm-hmm. Um. Yeah, and I look that part where you can see that everybody in the neighborhood is pissed off
Mm-hmm.
because she brought her kids over.
The
And they shipped their kids away. And so now
Yo,
they're gonna be mad at her because she brought her kids over,
not
and her
just
husband mad that she brought the kids over.
not just they shipped their kids away, they basically made their kids wards of the state.
Wards of the state,
That
exactly.
that fucking blew
Freaked
me.
me
I was
out.
like, this is why
Yeah.
this is why there is the perception that there is when it comes to this shit, because y'all have kids.
Mhm.
This is like my brain was like, this is where this shit comes from. I had
Absolutely.
no idea.
I had no idea either. I was like, they
It's
like giving their kids away to these white people. Like, what?
literally giving them away. And even at the end, Francis was like, I don't mind if they're put up for adoption. So
Yeah,
now so after reading that, and I'm thinking
crazy.
about all of the adoptions that I have seen of African kids being adopted by white folks. And now I have fucking questions.
I
I
do
have
too.
questions.
That's something I hadn't heard of before. So, that was it blew my mind. I was like, and they getting mad at her because she not shipping her kids off.
They're getting mad at her because she's being a mother. You're
Exactly, and
being
they're not.
villainized and
But not only that,
ostracized.
it's because they're not able to do it. They
They're
don't want to do it.
right,
They
right.
don't want to do it. So now they see somebody doing it. Now now they're gonna get mad. I was like, oh my goodness, that freaked me out. I
And
was like,
then when the nursery position opened up, I need to find that, because that was that whole
that's right after Vicky gets
the
uh
meningitis.
meningitis. Uh,
And the landlord was like, "Oh, it's fine that you're having another kid because your son's about to die." That's
I know. That was just like I was like, these people. I was like, these people is crazy.
bruh. Oh, it's after she bopped Trudy.
So where is that?
It's page 67.
Oh, okay, wait.
Then Miss Sterling spoke. We've got nursery places for the children. Your little girl can start on Monday. And when the baby is out of the hospital, there'll be a place for him too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. I remember that's when
oh
they
my
got
gosh.
the
And
place
that's
with the
after she
kid
beat the
was.
shit out of Trudy.
Yeah. I wish she wouldn't have missed. It would have been good if she wouldn't have missed.
Oh, yeah, she should have cracked her head open. And they
Ugh.
should have been standing side by side.
Yeah. I mean,
Trudy and Francis.
it was just, and I like the way the way she described Trudy. She was about to say, like, you're a she was about to say you're a prostitute, and just when you're a pro, and she's like, well, I don't know if that's her husband or not. And then it wasn't her husband.
So then it went back to use a hoe.
Use a hoe, yeah. Oh, that was just,
Oh
yeah.
my
I mean, I
God.
feel like this is book that really, one of the books that put me through all my emotions.
Yes,
You know,
very much so.
like literally roller coaster of my life. This one and her other one, The Joys of Motherhood, same thing. I was on the roller coaster of emotions. Crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for I don't know. I want to read more, but I need a break. This was like reading
I'm about to
Leonard.
read, guess what I'm about to read next?
What?
The Bride Price.
Why are you
Oh
reading
yeah.
that so
I'm
soon?
reading that in November because we're discussing it for the podcast.
Ah, okay. So then I can just put that on my
Um,
list for next.
So, but that's gonna
yeah.
probably be like season 3, I think, or 2.
The hospital scene, Belinda, that hospital scene
Oh,
broke my heart for
it
her
was terrible.
because she was like to almost die, to have a C-section. I don't even know what a C-section was like during that time,
Probably
but
horrible.
to wake up tied down
Yeah,
and
that
then
was
to
weird.
be a whole human experiment for all of these residents to come and view, and you have no control. You're already emotional after you have a kid, and just to be in that kind of a vulnerable position,
Mhm.
and then that also allow her to see other mothers and
Yeah,
how
torture.
their families and their husbands treated them, and how they seemed to be, whether it was real or not, they seemed to be respected and cared
Yeah,
about and cared for by their spouses, and she had nothing.
nothing.
She was in there every day
And
by
then she
herself.
asked her husband, he didn't want to get her nothing. I'm like,
Please, but Michael, I just had a baby that was ripped out of my stomach. And I have been told that I can no longer lay around in the hospital gown. So can you take my fucking money
and
and
go
go
buy me
buy
a
me a
hospital
nightgown?
gown. I was just like, this is
Bruh.
maddening. And then she had to see that other woman, and her husband would come, and he would hold
Hmm.
her hand, and he would be like all attention on his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think later on they realized that she had been trying for a very long time to have a baby.
17 years.
Yeah, and it was just
17
like,
years.
and there she was on her fourth. And her husband didn't even want to go buy her a nightgown.
But
Girl.
the next one that she tried to that she wanted to abort, yes, she did, Belinda, and I was like,
Yeah, she
damn,
died.
that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, that
But
was terrible.
then for the
Yeah.
next one, she had it together. This is what I need you to do. You're
She
gonna
was
send
ready.
me take this money, you're gonna send me some flowers every
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
We're gonna have it looking like, because for her, it was about appearances, nothing
absolutely.
else.
And they counted because
Yeah,
she was an immigrant and it was obvious. And people were talking and she
yep,
knew that they were.
yep.
She said that she
So,
even tipped the nurses. I was like,
And I didn't know
yeah,
that
I didn't
that
know you
was
could do
news
that.
to me. I didn't either.
yeah. I don't know. That might be a UK thing. I
I
ain't
was
heard
like,
of that.
oh, are you supposed to do that?
I don't know. They
Like,
got UK people in here. Pam, you still there? Y'all tipping nurses over there in Scotland?
I was gonna say
Hold on, Pam.
that is wild. Insurance is already expensive as it is. I'm over here tipping too.
Come on, Pam. Let us
But they
know if
didn't
y'all
have it
tipping
like
nurses
they
over
didn't
there and
have
stuff.
insurance. Like the healthcare situation in the UK is different from
Oh yeah,
how it
you're
is
right.
here. So no, we wouldn't be tipping anybody here
Oh,
because of the out of
Right.
pocket
You know,
expenses
you
that
know,
we
yeah.
have.
No, I was gonna
But
say
it's
they
different.
They probably
But
don't even pay.
Now, you know what they do here sometimes? They don't tip the nurses, but what they'll do is they'll leave a box of chocolates for everybody on,
on the
that's
floor.
working on the floor.
Hmm.
That's
So ain't
nice.
nobody tipping no damn nurse here, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, that shit ain't happening.
Damn, damn must have gone.
Your tip is just $4,000 that my insurance is
Oh,
not going to cover for this hospital stay, and
the copay.
that's if you push it out. Let's not
Yeah,
get into the slicing and dicing to get the baby out
yeah, I
here.
think
Like,
Pam is gone, but I mean, she'll let me know, let us know maybe on Friday reads if they
Yeah, I
tipping the
wonder.
nurses. Yeah,
yes,
That's
I need to
wild.
know.
that's wild. Yeah,
I need to know, and I can go back to school, and I can also move.
That is wild. Tipping the nurses.
the nurse,
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
don't. I found that strange because they don't tip there. So I thought that was just. I was like, oh, because they don't tip right when they go to restaurants
in the
I don't
UK.
know.
I don't
in
know
the
if they
UK.
UK.
Anybody here? Anybody in
They don't
chat?
tip in
Can y'all
France.
answer
I
that for
don't
us?
know.
Because we don't fucking know.
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't
Yeah,
know. If
yeah.
I
You don't tip
want to
in
say
France, right?
no. In France, we do not tip because
Yeah.
it's already in the price. But I'm wondering. I think in the UK they may tip.
Hmm.
I think they may tip. I'm not sure. Pam, Pam, where are you? I think she's gone.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm not sure about that. But
Yeah, here we go.
this is kind of a
On
rarity.
on page 123, tipping is not such a big thing here. Okay, Valdine said that tipping is not such a big thing.
Oh,
Oh,
Val. Okay, yeah, Val. Tipping is not such a big thing here. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Oh, you
And
know
what
what?
is
Maybe she tipped to like give the appearance.
That's what I
Oh,
think it was. I
yeah.
think it was all
Okay,
keeping
Yeah.
up
that makes
appearances
sense. That makes
because
sense.
Yeah. She probably took.
she's
She
been
was like,
seen as less than already because she was wearing her
Yeah.
hospital gown day after day and she didn't have a gown that was bought from home.
Yeah, that probably sounds right. It's like she
Yeah.
wanted to make it look like they weren't like, desperate in the need or something. What did you think about that scene where Vicky has a thing with his ear?
yeah,
Girl, see, that scene is interesting because it gives you the perspective of how the immigrants look at each other.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was done really well. So you had that scene where Vicky had the droopy big ear, and they're like, "Oh
yeah.
my God, he's growing. What's wrong with him?" And then
Even
they try
even the
to
part
doc-
where
yeah, the
it says
Indian
that the
doctor,
doctor just looks around. The doctor just looks around, and he
Yeah.
just like he
yeah,
could just tell. I was like, oh,
yeah,
poor baby.
yeah, that was scary, Belinda. It was like I was like, "What the hell's this kid got with the droopy big ear?" I'm trying to think of what it could be. And then when the Asian doctor came and said, "Oh, do you have bed bugs?" I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, hell no."
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, where's
Ooh,
Vincent?
baby. I was like,
Oh my
then
gosh.
I went from being mad as hell to squeamish as hell. Okay.
Oh,
It's just like, oh my God. And I mean, but the thing is that the Indian doctor would refuse to come.
Mm,
that I was like,
That
excuse
was,
me.
I was like, okay, so that's a sign of how, they were looking at maybe Black people.
Yep.
And then they turned around and then it was the Asian doctor who finally came.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
Um, kind of like clued them in on what was really going on.
Yeah.
I'm itching right now. Whoo, Jesus.
Yeah. That was an eye-opening scene. I thought it was done very well, that scene with the droopy big ear. Because the way it's described, you just have not a clue what the hell
What
the
it
kid's got.
is, right?
Because you're
What
like,
it is.
boy, his ear looking like what? An elephant ear or what? You know, because it's like, oh, it's big and it's droopy. And I was like, oh my
Don't
God.
don't they get that? Like football players get that, or wrestlers.
I
I'm
have
sorry,
no
wrestlers.
idea.
Yeah, they will get like cauliflower ear from wrestling.
Really?
Yeah,
Cauliflower ear.
yeah. It's like you would get
Saved
it.
to Google later.
You might not want to. Actually, let me look it up.
I'm not gonna Google that mess. So what he's talking about, I ain't Googling that. Nope.
I'm a
Yeah,
I'm a masochist when it
Cauliflower
comes to
yeah.
ear.
Because
that.
I remember
Mine
in
is
high
having
school.
me wanting to eat cauliflower now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's when it's a collection of blood. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly the time. Yeah, most of the time it's when people get it like from sports because you know, your helmet and the those things that the wrestlers use.
Oh, so okay, so it's from the helmet being so snug because them suckers are a tight
Yeah.
fit. Yeah.
Ugh. Okay. Well, I won't Google it. I'll just trust you, Michael.
Mm.
You
That's what I thought. That's when they said that I was like, oh, that's might be what it is. But then I was like, wait, how's that possible when they're not playing
It's
sports?
big,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh, I found Opara. It took me forever.
What page?
What page are you on?
155.
Oh,
And we get some things that we didn't, or maybe I missed it if they were described earlier. Because he says, "My name is Okpara. I know that you're an Igbo because of the marks on your face." I don't remember reading that she had any, of her tribal
I don't
markings.
remember that either.
Okay.
hmm
And he said, "I don't
I
want to hear anything. Let's go and beg his forgiveness. He would let you in." Typical Igbo for psychology. I was like, men never do wrong. Only the women. They have to beg for forgiveness because they
Yeah,
are bought,
yeah,
paid for, and
pay
must
for and
remain
must
like
remain
that.
like that.
yep,
Silent,
Silent
obedient
obedience.
yep,
slaves.
yep, yep, yep.
And I was just like, Jesus.
I thought it was also interesting some of the looks of like religion.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
Yes.
yeah,
yeah,
Yes.
I was
yeah.
like, because when he switched to Jehovah Witness, I was like, oh,
And he just
hmm.
switched to Jehovah Witness, so he could nut whenever
Mm,
he wanted to. That's literally the only reason why he did it. Sorry.
I was like, mm,
It was
And it's
convenient.
kind
And
of a
she
way of keeping them away from being friends with anyone.
Mhm.
And he'll know everyone that she's friends with because
From
Jehovah
being
you
friends,
can only be friends with other Jehovah Witnesses.
from celebrating anything, so anything
Yeah,
of a celebratory stance that will require any type of financial responsibility or output,
nothing.
to keep away from that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and to keep everything quiet and in the
quiet.
household.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's a spot when she talks about then would come the sermon, and he preached really
Mhm.
and how he would be feeling himself as he is giving all of, sharing all of this information and basically preaching to her about how she's so wrong in doing what she's doing, and this is why. And she hasn't even made the decision whether or not she ascribes to a faith at all.
Mhm.
At all. And I liked that she did not, because a lot of times you will see people, like we've seen stories of people who convert or pick a religion based on the person that they're with, whether it be male or female. It happens across the board. And I liked the fact that she was not as willy-nilly with her belief, or lack thereof, as her husband was, because I don't think he
yeah,
believed.
because
I
Mm.
can't make that
there's a part
statement.
in
I
here.
mean that.
There, there's a part in here. I didn't mark it, but when she was talking about how she viewed God versus
Mhm.
how the white people view God, and
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
yeah,
that is good.
Yep.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
some good
yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mark
There's
it. I
so there are
forgot it,
so
but
many
yeah,
good points in here. There are
Yeah,
so many
and there's some great
quotable things.
lines as well. A lot of really great lines.
Yeah. Because like the whole second class citizen thing, that was the best thing that Francis did in the entire book.
Yeah, But then there was this part that I thought was interesting. Mrs. Noble had been so amused that she started to laugh to herself. Frances, who like Pa Noble, always had a certain tenderness towards any white woman, smiled at her. It seems as if their friendship clicked in that smile. Ada felt betrayed, but she knew something. They were going to get the room where they were at what they were asking for. Pa Noble was too old for Sue.
Yep. Yep. She was like, that's fine. And I the mental pimpery.
Yeah, it's very
Yes,
good.
please. You can
Very
please
good.
screw my husband. We need a room. We
Yeah.
need a room.
I think like look, I enjoy those kind of little things like that because there's just like it's almost limit humoristic and then but it also just gives you that, like she laying it down, like
Mm-hmm.
letting you know what's up. And I really like that. And this that's what see, that's why it's a 4 star for me. It's just so good like that.
Yeah. And
Not-
there's another spot too on page 158, where it says she did not know that Francis, and this is one of the situations um where it like is the taking out the telling instead of showing.
Mhm.
But she said she did not know that Francis had not come to a situation that he had told himself subconsciously that that she did not know that Francis had come to a situation where he had told himself subconsciously that he would never pass his examinations.
Yeah.
How many times your ass gotta fail? Like all you've done for the entirety of the time you've been here is fail over and over and over again. And you just happy sitting at home doing nothing, getting fatter by the damn day. As a fat bitch, I can say that. Living off your wife. What, Michael? Michael, you
Yeah, and I
good?
like how they do that thing about Christmas. The whole thing around Christmas is pretty
Oh, that
cool
was nice for her to buy present for the kids. That was nice.
Yeah.
because it goes the long and short of it was that she had no money for Christmas. God would understand. And in the very
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
next line, it says, God did understand and comforted her a little because all of a sudden a big parcel arrived as if it were from Santa Claus. It was from the kind woman who was her boss at the North Finchley Library. There was a doll with eyes that blinked, dressed in a white lace with white shoes and socks to match for TT. There was a little guitar for Vicky and a hopping, squeaking hedgehog for Boo Boo. Sorry, Boo Boo. They were so lovely that Ada could hardly wait for Christmas Day to give them to her children. So I thought that was kind of cool that because it was like she was like I'm leaving it up to you, God. You gonna make this happen. If it don't happen, it
Hmm.
don't happen. It's not for us, and it happens, and it's just I feel like those are the little things that keep her going. Those are the things that allow her it's like she's getting grace somewhere down the line, even though she's
Mm.
going through hell with that husband of hers.
Who is Kit Duvall?
Oh, Kid
That's
Duvall, she wrote My Name is Leon. It's a she's black Scottish, I think.
I don't know who that is.
And she wrote this really cool book about a little boy.
We're
Um
like, oh, I never heard of
the
her.
boy and the two brothers wind up in foster care, but
Mm.
separated.
This is why we
Um,
refer to DD Internet. This is why.
but I didn't read her memoir, so I don't
But
know.
you know who the fuck she is. We.
Yeah, I know who she is. Okay, I didn't know her mother was a Jehovah Witness. Okay, now that's probably not so. Yeah, it's probably complicated. Yeah, exactly, Belinda. Acts of kindness from people outside her home. That's part of the thing that kind of keeps her going, I feel like. When things aren't going right and then something like that happens, it just kind of, makes, gives her a moment of peace for a minute until her husband comes and fucks it up again.
You know another thing that was really interesting? When she left Nigeria to go to the UK, she left with the assurance that when she came back, she would have her job. She's gone for months.
Mm,
In every job that she got in the UK, there was no maternity leave. She had to leave her place of employment to go
Exactly.
birth a baby and then apply for another job when
Again, yeah.
the weaning period
Yeah.
was over. And I was like,
Yeah,
damn.
because that tells you that the maternity leave wasn't really maternity leave.
It didn't exist. They
Yeah,
gave her a
there
stipend.
was no maternity leave,
Yeah,
and
they gave her a stipend and that
yeah,
was it.
yeah, that's it. That's why it's a really good depiction of women's lack of rights, but
Yeah.
through the eyes of an immigrant, and I think that's really interesting to see it through the eyes of an immigrant.
There's so
But
much
it's
good in
just
this
mm.
book, man.
it's so harsh, you know. Already you're having to adapt to the place, and then you realize when you're there as a woman, you have hardly any rights. It's
And you
devastating.
forget. Did y'all forget? Because I forgot as I was reading it that we're looking at a woman who's barely in her 20s.
Yeah.
I
Oh
kept
yeah, I read
forgetting.
that. Barely in her 20s. Yeah.
Barely in her 20s.
Mhm.
Got all these damn kids and this asshole of a husband and this whole family that she's supporting.
Mhm.
Societally, she's the man of the family.
She's the man of the family, but she's the one that has the least rights in the house.
It's oh my gosh.
And then it's like what Rosa said. She said, and her husband, it took him 5 times to pass the test the first time, the first part of the test.
And it took him how many times? Because he failed the test before graduating too. Did I freeze?
No. I
Okay.
think you.
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. He failed the test before going to the UK too.
Yeah.
Hmm. But he got all the praise because he's a man.
Yep. That's right.
But it took her only one time,
Right.
Yeah.
Once.
and she
And
made
And
more money, and she made more money,
and she
and
made
she
more
got a
money.
job.
You can't tell me that he was not jealous and his
he
his
was.
Oh,
little
He was
manhood was just
furious.
shriveling up in agony.
He was furious. And that's
Testosterone
why
agony.
when she started talking about being a writer and read my book and everything, of course he was going
hmm.
to burn it. He wasn't going to let her
Be
publish a book.
smarter.
The
Yeah.
Like
part that
you're
kills me
already
about
smart. You're already smarter than me. Now you're gonna be
Oh,
smarter.
the part that kills me
and
about that is when there's a part in there where he's burning it. He looks at her.
And
He
smiles.
and
smiles.
smiles. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
smiles.
This is why I have that fire sticker on here because I was like, oh no, 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 no. Is this part? Is this one right here? This the mad
Oh,
one?
I
No,
love
no,
I
no,
that.
said
Yeah, I
no.
need
no.
some
Oh,
of
I said
those.
no. I said no,
I need some of those.
no.
Or maybe I
Because
need to because I got a shit ton of tabs. So
because
maybe
I
I
was
No.
just need
like
to color code my
I was like
tabs.
I know she didn't say that.
She should have taken the nearest cast iron skillet and banged him in the head with it. That's what she should have done. But she kind of reacted like in slow motion, like when the thing is
Yeah, it's
happening.
like, what are they, Francis? Like she keeps asking him questions because she's in disbelief. She knows what it is. Of all the things this man does, you ain't seen him read a damn thing the
Thing.
entire time y'all been together. You
You're talking
know
about
what that
letters.
is.
She said, "Are these letters your breath?" And I'm like, it really felt like
If he
slow
failed all
motion.
his exams, he definitely didn't read no books.
It felt like slow motion like this when she finally realized what was going on.
Did he stop?
And to have had such a positive response from her coworkers, and this is the thing that irritated me about her as a character, to have such a positive response from her coworkers when
Yeah,
because they all read it before she
yeah,
even brought it home,
They're all
and to take that
librarians.
positive response and still need his fucking approval
yeah. And that's
and
just
tell him what it was and leave it out in the open. Like there were so many things and I'm like, you are so naive, again
yeah, but
forgetting
I
her
feel
age.
like here again, it's her never wanting to admit that that marriage is a failure. Always trying to
She
keep it,
knows it's a failure though. You don't care if you want your husband to
look,
screw other
baby,
people.
I'm just trying to get into the psychology of Ada.
Oh,
She's thinking about it as being a failure and her marriage and her wanting to kind of revive it somehow. Yeah. Latrice said, Rosa, I really wanted her to have already typed it up like her old boss said,
Yes.
and she didn't.
Yes.
But she didn't have a typewriter to type it on.
She was
That's
trying
the
to
problem.
save money on her own from her allowance that she was allowed to keep from this asswipe of a husband who took her money and he had to eat it all, because
He
that's all.
eat
That's
it
the only
all
thing
or
that was
drink it
growing.
all or spend it on prostitutes or all
The
three.
only thing
All
that
of
was
the above.
growing was his gut. That's it.
Yeah. So she didn't have the typewriter, and that's why she was having to save money so she could buy a typewriter or something.
And
So
never thought, like, there had to have been a typewriter in the
at work.
library.
Yeah.
There had to have been a typewriter in the library. And I'm just like, of all the places to bring this, why bring it home? You could have left it at the library and not been working there, and it would have been safer.
It probably would have been safer. And Rosa said, sadly, I don't think it was a unique situation.
I don't
Many
either,
It is
Rosa.
not. Yeah.
sorry husbands in horrid poverty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was an uncommon situation either, and that makes it like all the sadder, but also that makes this book all the greater, because for some of us who have not
Mm.
seen it presented in this way, we don't know how like horrendous it was. This is a whole different, or maybe it's not different,
Fish.
but this is an abuse that we have not seen on this level and gotten the impact, because of how it's written, because it's that give and take of, we get Ada's perspective and then we get the fourth wall, where she's talking directly to us as opposed to the third person. We haven't had that type of experience. We're getting a chance to look at it and look at it from the outside.
And keep in mind that whole burning of the manuscript thing that actually really happened to Buchi.
Yeah, when y'all, bruh.
It really happened to her. He was apparently deeply suspicious of her writing the book. So he just had to burn her manuscript.
You ought to be deeply suspicious of eating my food. That's what you
I
ought to
know,
do.
right? I know, right? Mm-mm. Yeah.
Woo. Mm-hmm. And that's why his ass failed, Rosa, because he ain't go do you. The only thing you had to do when you literally came out here on your wife's dime, and the only thing you had to do was go to school.
And it basically took her
And you
5
didn't.
years to write the second version. You know, after he burned the manuscript, it took her
And this
5
is
years
in
her real
Emecheta.
life.
Yeah, this
Real
is Emecheta, not Ada.
Yeah.
Like, that really happened.
Yeah, it really happened. And in her real life, it took her 5 years to rewrite that version that he burned.
Yeah. Belinda, I don't know. Yes, I think they were set up not to be as successful, because that's the whole thing. Again, the smartest thing that Francis says in the book. And we see it still happens today. We see today people who have degrees and were successful and had ideas of what they were going to come to whatever country, be it the US, the UK, to do, and they're not hired to do what they are trained to do, so they have
Yeah.
to take a lesser job.
Yeah, I mean, even the nurses, they weren't like really nurses. They were more like, what do they call them? Nurses aid more than a nurse. You
And
know,
as a nurse's aide, what you are is basically a janitor.
A janitor. You're like doing all the cleaning and stuff, and that's what they were giving them as jobs when they came over during the Windrush period. They were giving them jobs as nurses and babysitters and housekeepers and stuff like that.
So basically, Belinda, and me saying that I didn't think that you were right, I'm saying now you're fucking right.
Yeah. No, they set them up. She's totally right. You know, it's set up for them to get sick of it and go back to where they came from, or for them to
just live there and fail and struggle day to day.
And not really improve their lives. So
you know what I wish? I wish that at some point she could have had some kind of conversation with the lawyer who came home.
Yeah.
Because I would like to know why he came home.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
I would like to know why
Yeah.
he came home.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were such a successful lawyer and it was such a big event that there
Yeah.
was an entire press conference
What
meeting you
happened?
at the airport,
Mhm.
why did you come home?
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he was putting on a facade.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because you don't know. It's even in Manchester Happened by Jennifer Nansabuga Makumbi. There are aspects of that in there as well. And
People pretending to have the success that they don't really have.
yeah, pretending to have success that they don't really have, pretending or putting forth the facade that their financial situation, because they're expected to send money home.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're sending money home because this is what's expected of them and what's needed of them from
Yeah.
their families. But in sending money home, they're fucking destitute where they
Yeah,
are.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, she even confronts him on that. She said, you didn't even send your own mother money, when you should have. You should have been trying to
Right.
take care of your mother, and you didn't even send your own mother
She's
money.
taking care. She has
Yeah,
nobody. She
yeah,
has nobody. Her dad is dead. Her mama's dead. Her brother don't know where the fuck she is. All he did was come to say bye when she left. She has absolutely nobody.
nobody.
And the only way for her to have somebody is to deal with Francis and his
And
family's
and
bullshit.
he even rubbed it in his face even worse because I think that part she even says, "She did everything for you. She gave you this, she did all those things for you, and you did nothing for her." Woo, child. That was she went in on him with that one, and everything she said was true.
Hmm. And it was hard for him to hear, and
Yeah,
that's where the abuse came from.
yeah,
And so at any time where he felt she had an upper hand, whether
mhm,
it was financially, whether it
yeah,
was cognitively,
mm,
emotionally, he needed to do something to damage her.
absolutely. Because he wanted to have the upper hand, and his
Hmm.
upper hand is physical. 'Cause it's not using his brain. It's
Because he doesn't have one. I'm sorry.
all physical. His you are so right about that. Oh, baby. Hi. Hi, sweetie.
Oh
Aw, so cute.
my gosh. Michael's like, I'm live, go away. We excited.
So cute, baby.
Okay, take the baby.
Adorable. All right. Anyway. Okay, so does anybody in the chat have questions or anything they would like to add to this discussion?
Yes,
Come on,
yes.
and leave your questions for
Oh,
us.
Cookie asks, does anyone know what became of Francis? No. And that vexes me. That's the part of the story that I
Yeah,
don't care for. The fact
yeah, I feel like that's the
the
only thing
open
that
ending.
I have an issue with as well is that we don't
Mhm.
know what happens to Francis, and I want to know who that man is at the end. Who that
Hmm.
man?
Who that man?
Didi, since you read the biography, what happened to her real husband?
I don't know. I think it just says they divorced or something. Let me just check.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, as in probably whatever happened to Francis is most likely whatever happened to in her real life.
Mhm.
yeah, because it said at age 22. Wait. Okay, then she said age
It did end up roughly Belinda, and I believe that was on purpose. I think that's because this is the
Do you
second book that we've read for the go ahead, Michael.
this is I guess like a conspiracy thing. Do y'all think this was a dream?
what you mean?
It
Because
was all a dream.
you know how in the ending you're like, oh, who is this person that she saw? Chapter 1 says the first line, it had all begun like a dream, and then in chapter 2, it's talking about dreams also.
Michael,
Most dreams as
don't do this shit. You did this shit with Tar Baby. Don't fuck me
I
up like this.
know.
Don't do
He
this
always
shit.
does
I'm just
that.
asking.
He
No, I'm
always
just
does that. He
asking.
always pokes hole in my theory. Well, Michael
Talk
don't
It's
about
a
say
it.
that.
fucking
It's
damn good
impossible.
question. I'm like, darn it.
Is it all a dream?
It had
No.
all been like it had all begun like a dream. You
Because
know,
I
that
mean,
sort of
if
dream
you
which
think
seems
Yeah,
about
to
it,
have
could it
originated
all
from
be a dream?
but
nowhere.
come on now. When you say that because she'd be looking like coming up roses when you say that. That's why she says that.
I
It's
think
not
this is
because it's a
what
real
really
dream.
happened.
It's because she's saying it's looking great. Like it's looking like shit's gonna happen for me. Well, no, it don't. Because you get married to Francis.
Ooh, thought I was gonna sneeze.
Belinda asked, "What did you think of the ending?" I read it on my Kindle, and it ended abruptly.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
I
ends
can see that.
abruptly. That's what I don't like. I don't like that it ends abruptly, and I don't like that we don't know what happens to Francis.
and I think that's Emecheta's writing. I think because the end of The Joys of Motherhood was very open.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think in some cases, and again, it goes to Emecheta's writing that we want to know more, we want to have more, because I've read other books where it
yeah,
ends and at the ending, this is where your participation in the story starts, but the story continues. And
yeah,
I was fine with that. We
yeah.
got to the end of this, and I was like, hold the fuck up. Hello? Hey, there's
Okay.
not even a note from the author in this bitch.
In
Like,
her
hello?
real life, in her real life, it says at age 22, pregnant with her fifth child, Emecheta left her husband. While working to
Yeah.
support her children alone, she earned a BSc honors degree in sociology in 1972 from the University of London. So there you have it. She was 22,
5
she left her
children
husband,
at
and she had 5
22.
children.
5 children at 22. Bruh. I 5 children at
Yeah.
22.
Well, I feel like it's so semi-autobiographical that her ending, I don't think she wanted to.
Make the ending her story.
No, I feel like I don't think she wanted to make it like so perfectly ending because I
I
feel like
needed I mean, but if she had let him go to jail and then he got killed in the prison because he was an asshole and he said the wrong
yeah,
thing
but I
to the
feel
wrong
like
person,
no, I feel like when the ending
that
is,
wouldn't have been happy, but it would have been good.
it would have been good. Like it would have been good if he could have been back over once or 2 or 3 times with a car back and forth. That would have been good.
Yes, that would have been good.
But I feel like that's also because there's some aspect of real life there that you don't know what happens to people sometimes when you hear about something that happens to them and then they just go off in the night or whatever and you don't know what
He
happened.
never came
Yeah,
home.
exactly. We don't know. And I feel like she's trying to give it that kind of depth by
And it's
not.
not like autopsies were performed on black immigrant bodies back then. There are
Mm,
so many ways we could have gotten rid of Francis.
yeah, of course. Val said bizarre to think that 22 and 5 children. I was
My
like,
uterus hurts.
that's a lot.
I cannot imagine. I can't. And how
No,
and
dream either, Rosa. I think that's just what you say.
yeah. And the other part of it, because there's a whole thing at the beginning too where she's talking about the feeling of this presence that's guiding her,
Hmm.
Yeah,
and it's working for her as a kid. As a kid, she's
yeah,
determined. Her dad is working with her, like she has advocates.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then once her advocates
She's
leave, her dad dies, her mama don't give a fuck, her brother gone somewhere. It's like she loses
but it's
the
also because her
feeling.
mother has to get remarried, and then they basically have to like slave for these, for their relatives and stuff. It's kind of that shitty
Mm-hmm.
part about the Igbo culture. This idea that that's what's expected of you, kind of thing. So it wasn't easy for her, but I feel like you said, that guiding light or something inside of her is moving her and pushing her to do things. Okay, it pushed her to marry the wrong man, but.
And I just opened the book to father does not approve of women going to the UK. But
Yeah,
you see, You will pay for me and look after yourself. And within 3 years, I'll be back. Father said, you're earning more. I did not marry your daddy.
Mhm.
I How about, since I'm making more money than people who have gone to Europe,
Mm,
to the UK, I
mm.
go to the UK and I'll catch you in 3 years.
Exactly. Yeah, well,
Ah,
yeah, that way of, treating the girl child like she's nothing is just
yeah. And Rosa said, I think it's bizarre by today's standards, but in the late 50s and 60s,
yeah,
people had big families and
they
birth
had
control. It's
families.
not bizarre that she had 5 children. It's bizarre to me that she had 5 children by the age of 22,
Too,
because
yeah,
I'm
she
thinking of the
was young.
starting point. Like my mom's mom, I used to joke with her when I was growing up because I hated having a period. But my mom's mom basically had no period for 7 years. And I was like, outside of the kids, you was lucky. Because she had kids back like year after year after year. And
Yes.
it's not completely accurate. Like she had a couple of periods in there. But I was really like, for like 7 years, you didn't really have to deal with the flow because you were housing people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but
it's
it's
not
you're right, 22, I mean,
22 with
21,
five with
21 and
five
having 5
children.
kids, it's a
But
lot.
it's like, when did she start? 14, 15? Like that's the part that's bizarre to me. And it's bizarre because there's an absence of agency.
Well, I feel like she was probably maybe like 17 or something, maybe, or 16 or 17 when she goes over to
Yeah.
In order for her to have been 17, she literally would have had to have a child every year to have 5 kids by age 21.
that's a little bit how it was, though.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
I mean, she was having
At
them
seven,
because as soon as she
all
had
you did
one
was work and oh,
as soon as she
fuck
had one, her
me.
husband was all over her.
No, don't fuck me.
Her husband was all over her once she had one, so I'm
Jesus.
not surprised she was having one every year. No, I
Ah,
mean, it's not that out of the ordinary. No birth control. Your husband thinks that because he pulls out and drops his seed on the floor that, she's never gonna get pregnant.
he wasn't pulling out.
It was like I was
Wasn't
like,
pulling out. He failed at that just like he failed at everything else.
"Well, I don't think pulling out has ever been a good idea."
No, it hasn't. It hasn't, because
Not a good
there's a
idea.
such we're not going to get into
We're
that
not gonna get
conversation.
into that.
But
Let's
it's
just never a good idea, okay? Never a good idea. And don't ask me how I know, okay? Don't ask me how I know.
oh my gosh. I just woo,
Child.
this book was so good,
It was good.
but it was
So
so
you
much.
still wanna give it 3 stars?
And it's this
Yes.
thin.
What?
Michael is like, I
Three
am good with my rating.
Get out.
three
Michael said,
is
I am good
good.
with my rating. Thank
In
you.
Goodreads, in the Goodreads rating, 3 means I
We
like
don't
it.
give a shit about Goodreads. Do you see the people who write reviews on Goodreads? Nah, I don't give a shit about Goodreads.
Well, I am
Mm-mm.
sticking with my 3 stars. You guys can't bully me.
Look, I'm not bullying
I
you. I'm
hey,
just saying.
I enjoyed it, okay? I gave it 3 stars. I think it's good.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Michael, it's your turn, because remember, I didn't give Freeman 5 stars, and that she gave
Oh.
me a hard time. It's your turn.
That's 5 stars.
I gave Freeman 4 stars, and Dee Dee was ready to kick me.
You know,
I don't know. I thought our
if
discussion
anything,
was changed,
I
Michael.
I would read more of her work. So it's a win. A win is
That's
a
a
win.
win.
A win
That's
is
a
a win.
win.
Okay?
A win is a win. A
A
win
win
is
is a
a
win.
win.
Finally, you say something makes sense.
It's on TikTok. A win is
Okay?
a win. A win is a win.
Oh my
Finally.
gosh. Now, Latrice, you know I don't know what I said that got you saying now, Tati. I done
I don't know what you said either. You just said everything right.
But yeah, Michael,
No, Michael
read
has
the
not read The
Joy of.
Joys of Motherhood.
Yeah, it's a really
But you should read
good
that, The
story.
Joys of Motherhood.
Yeah.
I'll try it out. Let me see my
The
library
man in
after.
here made you mad. Wait till you get the man and the Ben over that man over there. Child, he trifling too. That's another trifling man.
Ooh, and now that I know that these stories are, again, that's why I might get all of them when they come out in these editions, because I do like having these matching
Yeah,
editions.
you can still find some of those editions, but not all of them, man. It's tough.
Oh, okay.
Real tough to get.
She said on Freeman not being 5 stars.
See,
really like the
now,
story. I really like the story. It was not a 5-star for me.
man, Freeman was
Everything else
great.
was though. The Last Thing You Surrender in Grant Park, 5 stars.
Yeah, definitely 5 stars for those two as well. But I think The Last Thing You Surrender is my favorite.
Same.
I think.
Same.
I can't wait till part 2 comes out.
If I buy, because the
Facts,
Joys of Motherhood is not
Latrice.
available on
Facts.
at my library, so if I buy it through Amazon, I can buy it used for like 5. It's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
That's
No,
not bad at all.
that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
I don't care
bad.
if it's written on. That don't bother me.
Unless you want, if you get The Joys of Motherhood, you can get it in the same edition. They have the Penguin edition of this as well.
But is it $5?
Yeah, but it's for sure not written in.
This is true.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
There's actually notes on here.
Michael is one of those people. I hated buying used
I hate that.
textbooks
It
when I
grates
was
on
in
my
school.
nerves to read a book where somebody else has annotated it. It just annoys the crap out of me. It's almost like somebody spoiling a book for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why are you underlining that? Oh
Yeah.
shit, that's why you underline that. No, pass.
Oh my god.
All right, y'all. I gotta go because we're going to.
No, there are no new
Halloween.
editions of the Bride Price. You can only get old ones at the Bride Price. It's old, the Bride Price. Old.
All of her books are old. I am amazed. And Michael, we heard you.
Wait, we gotta take a picture.
Oh yeah.
Because we haven't taken a picture. Wait. Cheese. Okay, good. You can go.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we're going to a
Hey, Maya.
He's about to take his headphones.
So cute.
Hey. Is that your hair, or do you have on Mickey ears?
I think she has Mickey ears on. Yeah, she got Mickey ears on.
Too cute.
Okay, so thanks everybody for coming.
Yes, thank you all for participating, and
we really appreciate it.
Present. We love it.
Stay tuned for the next book, which will be the read along in February. I haven't decided yet what it's going to be. I'm still working on that, but I will let you know in probably end of December. You'll know, or mid-December. Okay.
All right.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.